I can give you an example where we went monitoring and we met up with some women they told us that people were crossing from Casamas to come over to that particular community for FGM. But when they came, before they even met the circumciser, those are the women who drove them away to say, we don't no longer circumcise children in this community. That tells you that it is the community approach where the alcalo, the imam, the community scholars, the women leaders, the youths, the women opinion leaders, who all come together, the traditional birth attendants, to give support to the circumciser so that they can maintain what they have decided to do in public.
What is the latest way forward in the battle against FGM?
Considering how far we have gone with the awareness creation, if you remember, the Gambia signed a document called the Maputo Protocol to say that the Maputo Protocol has Article 5. The first part of Article 5 is to raise awareness and consciousness of the people so that they are aware of what harm female genital mutilation does to the woman and the girl child. And the second part is to have a law that will be legislated by the state to be able to protect the vulnerable girl and women who will be subjected to this female genital mutilation. And the Gambia have gone further in the Women's Act 2010 to say that more awareness should be raised to be able to educate people to be aware of the harm. So all those are progresses that the government has put in place to ensure that girls and women are protected female genital mutilation. Our role as advocacy group is to raise the awareness, and that awareness for sure has gone far. The second stage is to advocate for a law. And recently you must have been aware of the national consultation that brought 266 people throughout the country to be able to say, yes, there is a need for a law. And the interesting thing is that it's not the urban-based. In fact, the urban-based people do not know much about the work we're doing as the rural-based population. And that is why this year, International Day to Zero Tolerance to FGM, we are giving focus to the urban base. And the Kanifi municipality, that is Serekunda East, Serekunda West, Serekunda Central, and Bakau, are given priority to bring together their people to be able to be aware of what is happening relating to female genital mutilation.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is the Women's Magazine on GRTS. The Gambia Committee on Traditional Practices, Health of Women and Girls this year celebrated the International Day of Zero Tolerance to Violence Against Women and Girls. Rural women play a critical role in both developed and developing nations. They enhance agricultural and rural development. They also improve food security and help reduce poverty level in communities. In that light, these prominent women who work closely with these women share the rural women play in the socio-economic development.
Women have been so instrumental in development of a country. Now we're talking about these rural women. They are working so hard. Some of us don't know exactly how hard these women work. They work so hard. They are in the farms. They are also what the work they are doing is helping feed their family, because they are the ones that help feed the family. So they are supporting their husbands with the work they are doing. And also by supporting their husbands, they're also supporting the community. These women are the ones that are making sure girls are enrolled in school and stay in school too. It's these women that are doing it. So we just don't realize how important they are in society. They are very important.
I think they have a very crucial role, and they have been playing a very important role in development, whether we recognize it or not. Because if you look at production of the food that we eat, they're the ones who produce it. If you look at how much they contribute to education, for example, they invest a lot of money. And in terms of social development, they are into everything. They are very enterprising. So I would say they are very key in development, and they are very important.
Recognizing the critical role and contribution of rural women, FAWEGAM, an NGO body, have been assisting these women in different areas.
For us at FAWEGAM, we are a women's organization. So we're looking at the development of women, make sure that women they are developed, and we do it that way. They too can in turn support their daughters, and then we can stop the cycle of poverty. And how are we doing that? We are doing that. We have what we call mothers clubs. At Fawegam, we have about 275 mothers clubs nationwide, from Banjul to Koina right now. And we're working with these women. We train these women. We train them in advocacy. We train them in fundraising, in management, and so that they can be sustainable. And then that way, what the women do in turn, they advocate for girls' education. They make sure they work in the communities, the schools that they are attached to, they work with them. And then they make sure the girls stay in school. If a girl doesn't come to school, they find out why she's not in school. They counsel the girls. They also, if they hear of an early marriage case, they intervene to make sure that the girls are left in school until they finish. And then if the girls are not performing also, they find out. So these women, this is what we train them to do. So they are our watchdogs out there in the communities, because they are the ones that live in the communities. They help us make sure we develop these girls.
Do they have problems that is really hindering their contributions to socio-economic development?
The biggest problem for us is, one, most of the women in the rural community are not educated. They are illiterates. So that really hinders them. And because they are not educated, they can be, people can fool them. But now what we do is we make sure they have adult literacy. Another big problem is finance. There's just not enough money. The women are working. Some women, they don't have land, so they have to farm on somebody else's land. So land is another issue for women. And when they farm, they don't have the market also to sell what they have farmed. So these are the few issues. It all boils down to finance. If we have more money to support the women, you will really see a difference.
It is known that rural women are strong, powerful, and capable of taking care of themselves and their families, and are always ready to the challenges of survival.
They produce, and they do not have a say on how much their products cost. They invest a lot of time and energy in producing. Okay, let's look at vegetables, for example. When they produce these vegetables, there are a lot of them in the market. So they are forced to sell at cutaway prices. So they do not have a say. Then the amount of money they have, they use it in the household. Because most of the time, all the condiments in the household, they are the ones who put them there. So it's like a vicious cycle for them. They work hard, they get very little money, and all the little that they have, they also use within the family. They are left with little for themselves. So I think that's what is contributing in their poverty, even though they work a lot.
The rural women face gender disparities in access to and control over land, as well as lack of access to other reproductive resources and services.
We have put some programs in place. One is what we were just doing earlier this year. We call it Rural Women Mobile Project, which is to empower the women through communications, and these women are given mobile phones. It's a pilot project in the URR. So we have 1,000 women with mobile phones right now, and they're using these phones to communicate with each other. Like if there's education issue, there's education issue, there's health issue, there's agriculture. So we make sure that the women communicate with each other. They send messages. Instead of paying fare and taking time off their work, they will go send messages to the women in the other communities, and if they receive messages, they will in turn share it with those that don't have mobile phones. So this is one way to empower the women. That's one way. And like I said, the other way for us with the Mothers Club also, we give them seed money, which is a small amount, but they work with it. They work with the seed money and they grow it, and they are able to support the schools. So for us, it's education, and we know in order for one to get out of poverty, it's through education. Maybe these women, they have not gone to school, but they'll make sure their daughters go to school so that we can end this